Well, Isaac,
Hello.
you designed all of these beautiful books, and we have, I think, every single one of these in our
Ah,
house. But we wanted to just chat with you today
okay.
about the process that goes into making one of these books. So if you could tell me just a really brief description from start to finish, what do you and your team do to make something as beautiful as this leather-bound book?
Well, you first start with ideation,
Hmm.
trying to figure out, reading the book or having read it before, knowing uh, knowing the themes of the story and the symbolism. We can go deep on this, um, but writing all that down, getting a feel for things, then doing research of other books that we like. I especially like to look at books from the turn of the century.
Okay.
Um, because like in the late 1800s, early 1900s, there was a movement going back to printing beautiful books, like William Morris, Dove's Press. They were doing that. So I'll go back and get inspiration from other beautiful books I've seen in other eras of time. I've gone to the Morgan Library in New York, and you can see all the spines of the books. Sometimes they have books out. I take pictures. I just draw inspiration from other beautiful books. Chat with the team. We start doing concepts, for example, for the cover, and we narrow it down to something. And then it's using symbolism, creating different assets to take a design. And for example, uh, we created this um, this repeating pattern that goes
Hmm.
around here. It's also on the inside of the book, but it's based on the same shape as the Wheel of Time logo.
Okay.
And but it becomes, it's right in here. It becomes a almost Celtic knot, but we didn't want it to feel exactly Celtic because we wanted it to not feel necessarily like our world. It needed
Okay.
to be in world in some way. So we're thinking about the design, we're refining. We chat with Brandon, we chat with other designers. We create an art map by reading the book, picking out scenes that we think would be great. Um, Figuring out, we're also talking with our printer, what is possible, and then we go into an R&D stage with them. Can we deboss this finely on this material?
Hmm.
How many colors of foil can we put on a book before it becomes unwieldy for the printer? Um, and we're talking about, what is the weight of the paper? How
Hmm.
much, how big can we bind a book at the
Hmm.
printer?
Hmm.
And so we kind of have to know the specs and the capabilities as well going into it, because you can't, there is a blue sky period um, where you feel like anything's possible, but then you have to go
Yeah.
into an R&D stage.
Yeah.
Then we go into talking about which artists would be appropriate for the book, trying to narrow it down to artists, making offers to them for different pieces that might go in the book. Uh, we sometimes have artists that we've worked with before.
Hmm.
For example, Howard Lyon, who did this wonderful piece of Moraine,
Hmm.
uh, who's like, "Hey, I love the Wheel of Time. Can I be involved?" And we have a lot of artists that work with us that way. We lucked out on this one that we were already working with Peter Penef, and we discovered his love for the Wheel of Time that runs very deep. And so he did new versions of the chapter headers uh, that we put in there, that we wanted to make sure that they heralded back to the original book, but we brought something new to it and felt like it was a cohesive design uh, with these. For a book series like The Wheel of Time, we have to design it in such a way that it's going to work for all 15 books.
Hmm.
And so there's a lot of prep work in that regard, figuring out paperweight again and how thick can you go with the books. So meanwhile, then we go through the process of working with the artists to do paintings in the
Hmm.
book or two color pieces in the book. We're doing print tests at this point. What does the secondary color look like when we print on this type of paper? How well does the Does the paper soak up ink, or does it sit on top of it? How does that work? Sorry, there's a lot of technical
No,
things
this
that
is all awesome.
go that are involved with that.
Yeah.
With this particular one, we had custom leather made, so both the imprinting on it and how there's a 2-color process in here.
Mhm.
And we went through several different iterations of leather till we found a color that we liked, because we wanted it to have its own visual identity from something that's like burgundy, like
Right.
the Mistborn books. And so we finally landed on we liked this tactile experience.
Mhm.
And we landed on also debossing, for example, on this one, because we wanted people to feel that and go, this feels like the subject matter. And that's the same way with any of these books, is we want there to be like an overall tone that we've set.
Mhm.
In a way, it's like when you go to Disneyland or a theme park and you're waiting in line, like at the Indiana Jones ride, and as you're waiting in line, they're setting a tone for the ride that you're going to take. And it's not just to keep people from feeling bored while in line. It's tone setting.
Mhm.
So all of this is tone setting for when you get to the book and you start reading. This is the theme park part, the trappings. We start getting art in. We're working with layout design, picking fonts that fit,
Mhm.
trying to figure out how much leading can you go? How big should the letters be? What's going to be readable? After layout, we're putting the art in. We're working with the printer. We finally have final files that go through editorial. With the Wheel of Time book, it goes through the Jordan estate and
Mhm.
also Tor, and we get approvals on everything through that process. Brandon's also looking at things and giving approvals when necessary. And then it goes to the printer and we wait. And eventually, on their side, they're working all their magic, and then we get a finished book in hand. There's a lot more steps than that, but hopefully in a nutshell, that kind of answers some of those things.
Yeah, that was all great information. There are so many things that, I mean, we pick up a book and we have no idea, especially with a special edition like this, a leather bound or a highly illustrated, highly specialized book that you don't normally see in a bookstore from a standard trade print perspective. Um, and as a reader, most of the time, we don't think about all of the steps that go into making a beautiful book like this. Can you tell us the timeline that it takes from the very beginning of the stages of developing this book to getting that book in hand?
It really depends on the book. For something like this, it was a 2-year timeline. Probably a little bit more than that, because we were developing it for a longer series. We had to just be certain that we could do this design over the course of like 20 years, and hopefully it doesn't get old. It needs to be more timeless. And so we spent a lot more time on something that is going to be a big series than we do on something like this, which might have a year and a half, or sometimes even a year timeline. But it's usually a year of development, turn it in, and then 5 to 9 months, depending on the style of the book. Then you have the books in hand, because they have to do the process of printing.
Interesting. So with the Wheel of Time series, there are 15 books. This is the first book coming out. You want one to come out every year? Is that the goal?
That's the goal.
So since you've done all of that pre-development work on paperweight, binding sizes, styles, you've got all of that preparatory work done so that you can hopefully get a book out every year.
Exactly. So after that, we should be able to do a book a year.
Excellent.
Because all of that development is done. It's a known quantity now, and then you can just kind of, it doesn't run itself, but it does make it easier when you know that all of the design decisions have been made.
Excellent. One last question for you. With this Wheel of Time book, is there a specific, I know you've already highlighted a few of the art pieces in here, but is there something else in here, one specific art piece that you particularly love that you would want to display?
Oh, let me see. There we go. I'm going to highlight this one. So this is, and I hope I'm saying her name right, Eleanor Patera, who did this piece of Perrin and Egwene, with the wolves and the white cloaks. And one of the things that I love about this piece is just how it's a little more stylistic. Uh, she asked us, she's like, can I do some more of these stylistic, almost non-diegetic things, like the halo around the wolf's head and the halo around Perrin? And we're like, yeah, we love your style. That's why we hired you, is we want this new voice to come in. And I think she has done such a beautiful job here. I love the symbolism, kind of that connection between Perrin and the wolves that is just starting at this point, but also the moment that Egwene and Perrin are in the hand of Arthur Hawkwing as the White Cloaks pass by. I think she killed it. But I could say that with every piece of art in this book, that it just turned out, and we're so happy with it.
Perfect.
So we can't wait for people to get their hands on this.
I'm excited to have that book. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time. This was excellent.
You're welcome.